And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Bears Coaches Show featuring head coach Matt Eberflus. Jeff Joniak with you until 8 o'clock tonight here on News Radio 105.9 WBBM as we recap the Week 2 matchup with the Green Bay Packers. Good evening, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Right. Early arrival this morning, obviously. These late-night games are always tough on coaches and players for that matter, but the coaches hit the tape right away. What'd you see?
Yeah, so we got in this morning and, obviously graded the tape mostly on the plane. And then in this morning, and the players got in, we had the team meeting. And like we always do, we always talk about, what we can do better, what was good. And we have a 24-hour rule that we employ that win or lose. We always have that. And then let's move on to the next opponent. But today was all about corrections, and making sure that we do a good job with coach and player making those corrections from last week.
So where do you start on those corrections?
Yeah, so where do you start? Obviously on defense, I think we need to do a better job of what we call cupping the ball, where we force, we pursue and apex the football, so we limit big plays, getting downhill in the running game. And we have to improve on that. On offense, I thought we did some really nice things, running the football. So that was a positive takeaway. And then also, we got to do a good job of dispersing the ball. And our offensive staff knows that. We got to do a better job of hitting our skill and getting those guys involved early in the passing game. So we're looking to do that here coming up.
All right, we're going to break down some of those things. But just for the visualization, if somebody can close their eyes to define what cupping is, in terms of tackling. Yeah. I think it's an interesting term.
So it's very simple. So if you look at a defense, let's put them in shell coverage, right? So they're in we got two corners on the outside and two safeties. That means that the corners are responsible for turning the ball back. So they're forcing the ball. That's the force part of it. The apex is going to be the safety. So he's going to be able to apex the ball. He's also an outside-in player. And the pursuit players are the defensive line and linebackers. They're inside-out hitters on the football. So in a common sense, that's what it is right there. So sometimes that broke down a little bit, and that's where you get some of the bigger type runs, and we have to clean that up because that's really fundamental to our defense.
How about in those situations where, you just get blocked, though, also, because that seemed to happen, especially with Aaron Jones, man. He was hitting that gas right out of the box.
Give credit to him. He's a good runner and he's got great contact balance. But we got to bring our feet. There were several times where Eddie Jackson would come up there and do a great job of running his feet and tackling. And not every time, but he did a really nice job with that. So the younger players can learn from that, how to bring your pads, how to hit them low, and how to grab the hamstrings and run 3 hard steps. So we got to improve.
So with your hard grading scale, was it a high number of missed tackles in your opinion?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it was. And it's more than we're used to. And we got to do a better job with that. And guys understand that. We got to drill it this week and get better.
All right. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Goal line stand by Green Bay. It could have been a difference-making moment, obviously. Did you talk with the league about it at all, or is that something you don't bring up?
Well, obviously we thought we made it because I challenged it. We challenged it. And, the league sometimes, they looked at it and it's in a pile sometimes and they can't see it with all the cameras they have, and a lot of times they don't overturn those. And we know that, but at that point it was the game for us. So we got to make sure that we challenged it, and we did. They didn't agree with us, and sometimes that happens.
Might have been different if they called touchdown first and had it reviewed.
No doubt, because it was they couldn't tell, so they would have kept it as a touchdown for sure, and that would have put it in a 1-score game, and who knows what happens from there.
You already know this as a coach, being a defensive coordinator for so long. There's always questions about specific plays that are going to get second guessed for perpetuity.
Sure.
How do you accept all of that in a head coaching role now? Because you'll hear it about these things throughout the course of your career.
Yeah, I think you just take it for what it is. People love this game. We have passionate fans, and I understand that when the play doesn't work, you'll get criticized for it. But when it does work, it'll be all good. So, we liked the play call down there. We thought we outnumbered the defense, which we did. And we just got to get a little bit more pad level, a little bit more push, and we're going to score there.
It was a crazy week. No lead was safe. People kept whispering in my ear, you guys are starting to make that drive look, okay, this is going to get interesting. No lead is safe. And obviously as a coach, and you have to keep your players thinking the same way. Clearly they did, because they did work to the finish here.
Yeah, so, what I showed them in the team meeting today was when we got that takeaway midway through the third quarter, our offense responded with a field goal. They drove it down there, and then we end up getting another stop. And then they punt the ball down there. We get 90 yards, and we drive it all the way down the length of the field to make it a 1-score game. And then, obviously, like we said, the league didn't agree with us at that point. But I really liked our mental toughness there and the way we battled, and we did a nice job with our mental and physical stamina.
If someone would put a gun to my head and say, hey, how many snaps did Dillon and Jones play together, I would have said, man, probably 25, 30. It turned out to be, I believe, 8. It felt more like that, though. So I was gearing up to do this, and after I watched the tape and did the math, I go, okay, this doesn't sound right anymore.
Yeah.
But what are the challenges of facing the old traditional two-back offense?
You see it a little bit because those are two halfbacks back there, so you don't have a lead blocker. So a lot of times those are perimeter-type plays because it's, what we call 21 fast, where they got two halfbacks in there. And a lot of times those are outside perimeter type plays. So you don't a lot of times get the lead blocks in that, but you see that pretty prominent around the league now.
It allowed Aaron Rodgers, though, to get going a little bit in the passing game, didn't it? What did you see from the pass defense in those situations?
Yeah, we just got to keep our coverage a little bit tighter. Some of those were play passes. Some of those were individual routes. So we got to do a better job with our coverage. A lot of times it's individual technique. For example, when we're playing man, we got to get better connection on the wideouts. So we use a thing called scooch technique, and we just got to do a great job of really catching those guys inside of 5 yards and then keeping that connection.
Scooch technique.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you be a little more elaborative? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so you're within the first 3 yards, you're scooching off, and being patient, waiting for the receiver to make his move, and then once he commits to his move, you get hands on, and then you stay connected through the down. Obviously, you got to keep your hands off after 5, but you are still connected to the body. So we do a good job with that. Our guys do a nice job with that. We have to improve, though, every single time.
St. Brown to the left, stacked line of scrimmage, 2 tight ends, right side, Montgomery, the lone back, snap, Fields faking, now going to keep it to the 5, diving for the end zone, he is in for the touchdown! Touchdown Bears! Justin Fields in from 3 yards.
There you go. Justin Fields, his 3rd NFL rushing touchdown. The Bears' only touchdown of the day in the loss to Green Bay. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Break down that one for us on the 3-yard run.
Yeah, so, that was a design pass, where he was going to hit Mooney in the flat. Montgomery in the flat, sorry, and then he just opted to run the football, and obviously with his speed and athleticism, he's able to do that. And it was an exciting run to watch, from the sideline because you could see him make that decision to go ahead and tuck it and run, and he got it. And he's a strong player too, and it was a good decision on his part.
And he could have had absolutely got a couple of those yesterday. Obviously, he has a good feel for that, when to lean the ball out. It's always a question if it breaks the plane, but he's got a good sense for that, it appears.
Yeah, he's got great instincts when it comes to that, and what a tremendous athlete as well.
All right, David Montgomery was running with his hair on fire. Certainly on that drive to start things up. It seemed like he was in a mood last week after the game. Last week and throughout the week seemed to be very determined.
Yeah, he was very determined this week. He had a great week of practice, and it showed, last night. So and again, you got to give credit to the offensive line. We showed a lot of those clips in the team meeting, and you don't get big runs without the receivers blocking. So the tight ends and the receivers blocking on the perimeter to break those. And as soon as he got into the secondary, a lot of times Demo did break those, but also it was great blocking on the perimeter.
All right, let's talk more about Justin. Just the minimal number of passes, because you were pressed on this both after the game and up here Monday at Hallis Hall at your news conference about that. And you touched on another term here, and that's find
your skill. Yep.
Yeah, find your skill.
Utilize your skill, and we want to do that. So we want to have balance. We want to have balance in the run-pass game on first and second down for sure, and we're going to get that. Like I said, we're in a new passing offense. We're in a new offense altogether. And the rhythm and timing of that's going to come, and it's going to improve every single week. Sometimes it'll improve really big jumps, and sometimes it'll just, improve in small increments. So, we're excited about getting that going. Like I said, highlighting the skill of Mooney, Komet, all those guys. We're going to do that, and our offensive staff are a great bunch of coaches, and they're going to work tirelessly to get that done.
So when you say that, you're talking about not just the person, though, but just about what they can do in terms of their skill set, and that includes Justin, right?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. So when you put a ball, the ball in the hands of like a Mooney, where he can catch a short pass and take it for 10 yards or 20 or break it, that's what we're talking about. You got to be able to do that to spread the ball around to the skill.
Everybody tries to make it sound so simple. Oh, why don't you do that? We all love running the ball, and then the running looks good. But hey, and the loss certainly is something that people are going to focus on. But the fact of the matter is, and Equimini St. Brown said so at the news conference today as well. you experienced the same thing when there was a new offensive change in Green Bay, even with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Things take time. Do players get as frustrated sometimes as fans and media with it?
Well, I think that the players are in the thick of it, so they understand a little bit where the process is, where the plays are, where the timing is, how everybody's working, and I think that they understand that because they're in it. So they're working tirelessly to get that done. And again, like it's a process. And again, we'll search to get that this week.
All right, so that was your first road game, and it was crazy. It was loud. Justin said it too. A lot of noise in that place. Sometimes he didn't hear the play. Sometimes maybe somebody else didn't hear the play. But the best way to quiet that crowd is what I always like to say, the silencer. That's the big shot, that somebody makes in the NBA or a Grand Slam home run in baseball. Right. But those big plays, you'll find those as this season goes on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the flea flicker that we ran. That was a well-executed play on our first scoring drive, and you got to have plays like that. In order to score, on offense, you have to have chunk plays. And if you look at our scoring drives, we had chunk plays on every one of those, and that's what we got to do a great job on offense, and we got to have to do a better job on defense limiting those.
But you got to have the ball too.
Yeah.
41 snaps. That's a small number really to get your offense cooking. Get the rhythm of that with 41 plays.
Yeah, I mean, so people always talk about time of possession, and they've talked about that all the time, and that to me is a team stat. So we have to do a good job on defense of getting the ball back for the offense. So we can't allow the team to drive that many plays in a row. We got to be good on third, get them a third down. Okay, first of all, have good first down efficiency, get them a third down and get off the field, get the ball back to our offense, or take the ball away and give it back to our offense. So that's a good we have to do there. And then offensively, we just have to do a good job of sustaining drives, getting first and second down, being efficient there. And, I think it was one of the scoring drives, we didn't even have a third down. We scored without even having one. But when you get to third down, it's got to be manageable. And that really goes back to first and second down efficiency. So you have that 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 manageable when you get to third down.
Blassingame in motion, handing off Montgomery behind Blassingame. High steps, it breaks a tackle, 35 to the 40. Running right, Montgomery cuts inside in midfield, takes on another Packer. Another angry run for David Montgomery in the Packer territory.
There it is. Former Iowa State star David Montgomery ran hard all night in Green Bay, and that 28-yarder, Matt exemplified how determined he was in moving the ball. After 17 of 26 against San Francisco, but a couple years back he had a game in which it was against Tennessee. I think he had 14 for 17 yards, and then he plays Green Bay and has a game just like he did here. So clearly, when something doesn't go right for David, he's got that inner fire burning to go and get it.
Yeah, he's a determined guy, and he was laser focused this week, and that showed in his play. And like I was saying earlier, that the offensive line did a nice job of blocking. If it was a zone scheme or a gap scheme, they did a really nice job of picking up the numbers, and staying on their blocks. And that run you're referring to, they did just that. They stayed on their blocks. And the receivers had a really good job of second effort of staying there. I think on that one, Mooney might have blocked 2 guys. He started blocking inside, then came back outside, and then Borum on that one should have really turned up because they were hustling down the field. He could have turned up and actually blocked the safety, and we could have sprung that for even longer than that. So, guys, the offensive line and Chris Morgan do a heck of a job coaching those guys up, and their efforts there. They're going down the field to get the second effort blocks.
Followed up by a 27-yard run by Herbert on that.
Yeah,
right
and another good run, another well-blocked run, and certainly Herbert is a guy that can take it all the way.
Great seats available to see your Chicago Bears this season at Soldier Field. Get your tickets at chicagobears.com/tickets. Wanted to touch back on time of possession thing. Where are you at on that stat? Because I look at it as significant for a lot of reasons when you want to keep a great quarterback off the field, but if you don't score, they're still quality quarterbacks can take a minimum amount of time and still beat you. So as a defensive head coach and just the head coach in general, how do you look at that stat?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be significant if you're playing that type of ball. If you're trying to keep the ball away, and doing that. But sometimes it doesn't matter. It's about scoring points, and it's about not allowing guys to score points. So third down defense is big in that stat, where you get off the field or stay on the field. That's got to be a big one. And then also, like we said, it comes down to scoring. So ultimately, it comes down to your red zone defense and red zone offense. So that to me, it's sometimes it shows up and sometimes it doesn't.
Most reactions are overreactions 2 games into a season. That's always the case. And I think with the extra game, one less preseason game, there is a lot of overreaction, good or bad. What is not, and there's much work to be done, obviously, but how do you frame it, and how do you look at the season in those terms?
Yeah, so it's, like I told the players in the last since training camp, this is going to be about us. It's going to be about us doing our job and us building our football team. We're in week 2, and we're now moving on to week 3, and we have to get better. So we've done some good things in the first 2 weeks, and we've done some things we have to correct. We have to make those corrections and move forward. Our eyes are forward onto Houston. But we have to make sure that we're really focused on making those corrections.
How much do you talk to your players, bring them into your office? I don't recall if we discussed this before, just you and I, but do you have like a council of players that you touch base with?
Yeah.
I do. And how does that work?
Yep.
And
I meet with those guys every Wednesday. It's the player council, and we talk about the week and talk about the message for the week and how we're going to work and the work patterns we're going to have and any schedule changes that we might have. I get their input on those, and I've certainly adjusted a few things along the way. But those guys are very insightful for us and for the football team. And those guys really are the leaders of the team.
So are they the captains?
Their captains are in there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And there's probably, I think, 14 total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's one from every position group, sometimes 2. So, but it's a great group, and those guys have worked really hard, and those guys are our leaders.
This is maybe a silly question, but do you bring all 14 at once, or
yes.
do you just
okay?
So you have a set.
So I meet with them
every week.
Every week. Yep, 8:45 on Wednesday before we start the week. So we talked. I show them what we're going to do, what the messaging is, and they have to carry out that message.
Did you pick these 14 individuals, or did some of these volunteer?
The team picked
them.
Okay. The team picked them. We had a vote 2 weeks before we voted for captains, and we selected those guys at that point. And then 2 weeks later, we selected the captains of our football team.
Is it free flow conversation?
Yes, absolutely. Sure. I ask guys' opinions. I want them to be able to speak in there, speak their mind, and so I understand the pulse of the football team.
Without being specific, it's private matter, obviously, but has anything surprised you about what they've said to you? And maybe you've changed their opinion or view on something from your own perspective?
No, I think that a lot of them appreciate the openness and the willingness to listen to them and them listen to me. And we're about the Chicago Bears and us being a football team, and so how we speak to each other and how we communicate to each other is very important. We have to be able to challenge each other, during the course of the season, and in order to do that, you have to have open communication.
Again, a 2-back set. Rodgers empties it, now looks to throw. Tight pocket, cowers and goes down, and a penalty marker. Travis Gibson again. Third sack of Rodgers in this first half. Great seats available to see your Chicago Bears this season at Soldier Field. Get your tickets at chicagobears.com/tickets. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Matt Eberflus. Just heard one of 2 Travis Gibson sacks. Last week it was Dominique Robinson. This week it is Travis Gibson. Robert Quinn also had one. So you want all these guys. They like to say they all want to eat, right? So that's their term, want to go eat. So Travis did, and again, a similar amount of snap total, I think, as Dominique was the week before, so he got a lot done.
Yes, he did. He played well in the run game, and he also had those 2 sacks. So, one of them was a second effort sack where he had to come back inside as the quarterback stepped up, and the other one he just beat the guy. So it was great technique. I thought his get off was really good, on the one, and I believe he created a holding penalty on that one, but. He certainly played very well for him and for our football team.
Kyler Gordon, a typical veteran quarterback circling a rookie. Doesn't matter if it's a first-round pick or a seventh-round pick. He's done this many times, and other quarterbacks will try to do the same. And I know you touched on it in your press conference today with the media that you did speak with Kyler just to see where he's at and keep him confident.
Yeah, so, it's when you play rookies, they're going to have ups and downs and ebbs and flows to a season. And the most important thing is they look at the performance for what it is. So the performance is over now. How can they stack this in and make themselves better by learning from it? So I have them take all their point of attack plays off and look at them, and they really do a good job sitting down with their coach and say, how can I improve on this particular coverage and this particular technique? And they have to put that away in their file, because when you become a good pro, you don't make the same mistake twice. And they just, you have to improve on that, learn from it, and then go forward and then drill it and make sure it doesn't happen again.
This has no doubt been the way you've always coached.
Yeah,
right.
This is the way I've done it. It doesn't matter if it was a player that was rookie of the year or an all-pro player. All the guys that I've coached over the years, I've always had that same mindset. That's the only way you can improve is if you focus on the corrections and then have your eyes forward to improve for the next week.
How much does a player appreciate this? Because we often, because it's sports, we don't look at it as like, I know some people don't look at it as like a normal job where you just go in and, if you're going to sit down with your boss, it may not be a good conversation. Right. This is just the opposite, You're pointing out the facts, but you're also trying to make sure that this doesn't become a bigger issue for a guy in terms of confidence.
Yeah, I think what you do is you micro it down for the player. So it's not this big thing that's a mystery. Let's go back to the details of the fundamentals and technique that we're talking about. And when do we apply those fundamentals and techniques? And if you do that, it's more manageable, certainly for a rookie, but even for a veteran. Because if you do that, you can put a handle on it, and then you put the work in to improve that fundamental or technique, and then that fosters confidence. And then you carry it to the game, and you have success, you get more confidence. And that's what we're here to do as coaches. We're here to encourage those guys and help those guys along the way.
The bigger issue would be if you're asking a player to do something they just can't do because of their skill set, right?
Yeah, so we obviously have to assess skill sets. And we have to do a good job of that. And that's what the coaches are there for. And we certainly want to put our guys in the best position to succeed.
Kick off tailgating season with a league-leading lineup at your local Jewel-Osco. Get everything from chips and dips to wings and other things in one quick trip. Bears head coach Matt Eberflus here on the Bears Coaches Show as the Bears will start looking at the Houston Texans for next week's game at Soldier Field. In terms of the offensive line, never mentioned Braxton Jones yesterday. I talked to one of the players today. Really proud of what he's been doing over there at left tackle.
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's a real good athlete, and he's able to mirror and stay in front of guys in the pass rush, and he's done a good job in the run blocking. So we're really pleased where he is. I know a lot of the veterans are helping him out along the way. Simo's done a wonderful job of coaching him, and he's continuing to grow.
And Lucas Patrick, another, just getting stronger, getting ready, right?
Yeah, he's going to keep getting stronger. We'll see where he is this week. If he stays at guard, maybe swings into center. We'll see where his thumb is. But that'll be a day-to-day operation and a decision later in the week.
As we get the Bears ready for the Houston Texans, hope we'll see us out at Soldier Field on Sunday with a noon kickoff.
Rodgers in the gun on 3rd down and 10. Hard counts, trying to draw the Bears. Here's the snap, 4-man rush. Here comes pressure. Quinn gets him from behind, gobbles him up, and down he goes to the 28 or 9-yard line.
Another sack for Robert Quinn against the Green Bay Packers. That's 7 in his career. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show. Matt Eberflus, break that one down.
Yeah, I would just say that was, just a great speed rush. Yeah. He beat him around the corner, and he did his signature move, and, with his little side swipe where he jumps up in the air where it's really hard to block him. Toes are pointing towards the quarterback. Then his acceleration was outstanding to get the sack. It's really good.
It doesn't sound as simple as you made it be, but you know what? Sometimes it is when you're sacking the quarterback, beating Josh Nijman on that one. I read in the paper that Quinn signed his jersey for Aaron Rodgers, and he doesn't get many quarterbacks to also do that, but Rodgers did agree for this one. He says he's collected a few over the years. I always thought that was pretty cool because, again, these are grown men playing a kid's game, and many of them probably wore jerseys throughout their whole childhood or whatever, as we probably did as well.
Yeah.
That's the part of the game that I think is kind of interesting, kind of cool. What do you think?
No doubt. I mean, this game of the NFL football is really amazing with the guys. First of all, all the guys are wonderful, wonderful men, and just are tremendous athletes, and those are the guys that make this game special. The guys that everybody's, wants to go see play and then get to see those two guys go at it and Robert get the sack on that. So it was pretty special.
For yourself, as a head coach now, when you walk out on that field and you go and shake the hand of Matt LaFleur, or next week it'll be Lovie Smith, pre-game and then post-game, is it a different feeling than you've had in the past, or is it the same? It's just now you're in charge.
Yeah, I think it's really the same. I know a lot of those guys from being in the league a long time. So, I know Lovey, I know Kyle, I know Matt. So I've known those guys for some years, and it's just going over there to say hello to a colleague or to a friend.
And with every passing day, more and more comfort for you and what you're doing and how you're doing it?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I have a great coaching staff. I got a lot of support staff that help me out during the course of the week to manage, everything from, the schedules to the practice itself to, the PR department, to working with the wait staff and everybody. So we've hired a bunch of good men and women, and we're certainly working in the right direction.
And then with your coordinators, these are important positions, obviously. You know what the value of that is after being with one. How is that going with your guys, Alan Williams, Luke Getzey, and Richard Hightower?
Yeah, it's going great. Communication's been wide open, and we're continuing to look and search to how to improve our football team every single week. We know we have a young roster, and we're looking at ways to enhance the skill. And, on offense, defense, and kicking. And we're trying to get that done every single week, and we're working to improve that.
Some of the things that did well in San Francisco game, resulting in a win, some of the same things did well. It doesn't result in a win, and some things, flare up. Your expectation remains the same, but you can't, these things are going to happen. There's going to be games where this is the issue, but it happens to be Green Bay, and everybody's, upset about losing, so many in a row. Nothing to do with the fact, you sometimes inherit the past when you become a new head coach, right?
Yeah, I think it's, like we said, we're disappointed in that loss, but now we're looking at a performance we can improve from. So our eyes are forward to Houston, and we're looking forward to getting on Wednesday's practice.
Also with the Mooney and the Komet and the touches and the lack of passes, do they understand that in the framework of your plan this is possible?
Yeah, those guys are great teammates, number one. They're very unselfish, and they're going to do whatever it takes to win the football game and whatever it takes for us to be good on offense and help our football team win. So they are, first of all, great men, and they're skilled. So they want to touch the ball, and they're going to, and we got to do a better job of getting those guys touches. And, our staff's going to work tirelessly to get that done.
You talk about 6 plays that may change a game.
Yeah.
Do you have them in your mind? What could have changed the game yesterday? Some of those.
Yeah, you definitely do. You have those 6 that changed the game. Obviously, the 4th and 1's a big one. Yeah. I think the 2nd and 28. Where they get
screen.
Yeah, the screen back there. There's certain plays in there that we have to do a good job of executing, and it always comes down to that. It's just 6 or 7 plays that comes out. You never know when it's going to be, though. And that's why you have to have the cycle of the snap and the hits principle every single snap, and that's going to swing things in our favor.
I like what Ecominius had to say, too. It was a 3rd down play. They brought it up about, he's changed his route from curl to a go route, hand up in the air. That's a weapon, right? It's a weapon.
It is, and then I thought we used another weapon yesterday. We got, too many men on the field on defense on the opposition, and we went, we got them to – get a penalty there. They didn't throw the flag, but it would have been. And we hit Griffin down the middle there. And that's a tool we can use going forward. And that's really good growth by the offense. Them utilizing the tools that we have inside of our offensive system.
Equinemius St. Brown beyond the numbers left. Slot right, Mooney outside of him. As Montgomery flips it back on the flea flicker to Fields. Throws left side. It is caught at the 35, middle of the field, 30 to the 25, and a big first down for St. Brown. Bears knocking on the door now in Green Bay territory on a 30-yarder.
Calling all Bears fans, get the ultimate VIP fan package with Chicago Bears VIP. Secure a game ticket and appearance from Bears legends and more by visiting ChicagoBearsVIP.com. With Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, our final segment. Just heard the flea flicker to Equinemius St. Brown. Nice play call. Give to Montgomery, flip to Fields, and bam, a 30-yarder. It's a big play.
Yeah, it was a big play, and it was a nice play, and I really want to commend Justin for hanging in there because he took a hit on that. 91 was on the corner there being blocked by Cole, and Cole did a good job of staying in front of him. That little, the flea flicker holds him for a second, but he had to hang in there to get to his second read. Took a shot and threw it right on the dime. So that was a real nice play by both those players.
Overall, what else are you seeing with Justin? I know a lot of folks are wondering, hey, how come they're not letting him pass the ball?
Yeah, like I said, we have to search for balance in the offense, and we're going to do that. But he's growing. He's growing and getting better every single week, and I can see it in practice, and we're going to start seeing it in the performances, and he's done that during the course of the games. I think he's got a real good feel for when to tuck the ball, on that one score where he reached out and almost scored on that one. We thought that was a really good decision on his part, and the timing of that was really nice, but he's just continuing to grow.
That was the first opening drive touchdown on the road for this team. Again, predating you, but it's been a long while, I think, since Jacksonville in 2020. So I think with more of that, whether it's coming out of the locker room in the second half or right out of the gate in the first half, that's going to build natural confidence in your team too.
Yeah,
and execution.
It was one of the things we talked about starting fast, and we did a nice job of that. I know they got a field goal, but we held them to a field goal. Then we score on that first drive on offense too. So that's growth. And guys are getting better at that. And again, that's what we did from our first performance. So our first performance in San Francisco, we didn't start that fast, and we wanted to get that going, and the guys responded to that. So that to me is growth. And they still showed mental toughness. We were in it till the end there, and they got to keep doing that, and we'll be in a lot of football games and a chance to win those.
There are only so many great quarterbacks. Not every team has great quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers. As a defensive coach, do you get as frustrated at his excellence sometimes? Because even if you've got him covered, even if you got every lane blocked, he somehow finds a way to beat you.
Yeah, I would just say that, every individual quarterback is different, and we're going to respond to that, and we're going to do the best we can to defend that quarterback. And, obviously we got to do a better job next time. Even
as a defensive coordinator, you sit in that tape room. How did that happen? We had it perfectly. We had a great call.
Yeah, the Brees, the Bradys, the guys that have been in the league for all these years. I actually was with Rivers for a year, and those guys are just phenomenal. First of all, they're great human beings, and man, they're so smart, and they know how to read coverages, and they know where to go with the ball. And certainly I've learned a lot from those guys. Going back to even I was with Tony Romo and those guys over the course of the years. I love talking to those guys about what they see, how they see it, and then what's hard for them. And I've certainly gained a lot of knowledge from those quarterbacks that I've been with over the years.
So you're a quarterback information gatherer.
Yes, you better be. Yeah.
Yeah. When did that start for you?
Yeah, to me it started way back when I was probably in Dallas.
Okay.
I started to talk to, Jason Garrett and Tony Romo and those guys, and that's kind of where it started, and visiting with Dak and all those guys, and then, moving on to my next spot. So it's always been something that I've always wanted to do, talk to the guys, and now I'm sitting in the quarterback room, so it's been good.
Is there a common theme or string of knowledge that you are aware of?
Yeah, I just think they see things a lot of times the same way. How they read coverages, what their tells are, what are they looking at first, what's their first read, to tell them what the coverage is, and then we try to combat that with making that look a little different sometimes for the quarterback.
All right, Matt, coming up next, the Houston Texans. This is brought to you by Bet Rivers, the official sportsbook partner of the Bears. First name we have to bring up is Lovie Smith. Certainly a very successful coach here in Chicago, brought a team to the Super Bowl in 2006 and had a long run, and a part of that family of coaches that you're from.
Yeah, so, a lot of respect and a lot of love to Lovie Smith, pardon the pun there, but, he's certainly been in this business a long time and did a great job here at Chicago, and he's been part of, obviously one of the original guys from the system with Rod Marinelli, Monty Kiffin, Lovie Smith, all those guys in Tampa Bay, with all those great players down there. So that was what started it all those years ago. And certainly he's had a great career for himself.
A lot of love for Rod. That was Roomy, right? You heard about that?
Oh, yeah.
Roomy.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about Roomy a bunch of times.
Yeah, a bunch of times. But, I'm reading quotes from their loss yesterday, and some of the same things that you say, about, hey, we got to get the ball out. Everything's similar in that regard, right? So you'll be seeing a team that'll be trying to do the same thing to you that you want to do to them.
Yeah, they play with great effort on defense. Their offense is really the same style, so it's going to be a heck of a battle.
Anything that you could tell us about their offense at this point? I know it's early in the process, but they got the quarterback. Yeah,
yeah, we've played those guys last year a couple times. At the last spot I was at, so Davis Mills, obviously, Cooks is a really good player on offense. They got some good guys at tight end. And again, I'm looking at them right now. I'll be going to study them a lot this evening. So. Just starting early stages of that.
Right, a very young team as well with a lot of new players that we're getting acquainted with. Damian Pierce, running back rookie, coming out of this past draft, is somebody that will be needing to stop, because once the team starts running the ball on you, everybody's going to try to do the same. So last two games, a lot of yardage in the run game.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said, we got to do a better job up front. The front seven, the linebackers and defensive line, and then keeping that cup on the ball in the secondary. So. We're going to have a great week of practice this week to get that done.
All right. Any updates at all on some, like Velus Jones? Is he getting closer?
Yes. So we're excited where he is. Again, it was day to day, but we're hopeful that he can start to practice this week, and we'll see where he goes during the course of this week.
All right, you got a shorter day to get ready, so you're a little behind already, right? For the Houston Texans.
Let's get her going.
Let's get it going. Thank you so much, as always. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you. Good luck with your preparation this week.
All right, thank you.
As Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, want to wrap up our show by thanking Keith Johnson, Andy Gersher, Dan Barilli, and Jordan Tredup. And for Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, I'm Jeff Joniak. Week 3 kicks off back at Soldier Field against Lovie Smith's Houston Texans. Our pregame at 9, kickoff at noon. And this is News Radio 105.9 WBBM.